Good afternoon, students. Before I proceed further, I would like to revise the previous class concepts. We started with reproduction in plants, asexual and sexual mode of reproduction, different methods of asexual reproduction, in which binary fission, multiple fission, budding, spore formation, and fragmentation with examples, vegetative reproduction, reproduction from underground stem, aerial stem, root and leaves are the natural methods. In artificial vegetative propagation, we have studied about stem cutting, layering, grafting and tissue culture. Then advantages and disadvantages of vegetative propagation. Let us start with today's topic, sexual reproduction in plants. Sexual reproduction in flowering plants involve the production of male and female gametes. The flower is the reproductive part of a plant. It bears parts that produce male and female gametes. What is a flower? A flower is a modified shoot in which leaves are modified into floral parts. Now, which are the parts of a flower? Look into the diagram. You can see different parts are labeled: pedicel, sepal, thalamus, petals, stamens and pistil. So these are the different parts of a flower. Next we will learn each and every part with their functions. The first part, pedicel. The stalk of the flower. This is the part that which connect flower to the main stem. The tip of the pedicel is swollen to form a cup-shaped part called thalamus. All floral parts are arranged in it. The outermost whorl of the flower is called sepal or calyx. It is green in color and protect the flower in the bud stage. They can also make food by the process of photosynthesis because they are green colored. Chlorophyll is present. The brightly colored attractive part of the flower, it is called petals. Petals are also called corolla. The function of petals, that is which attract insects for pollination. Male reproductive part called stamen. Stamens consist of filament and anther. Anther produce pollen grains which contain male sex cells. Female part of the flower, that is called pistil or carpel. Each carpel consists of stigma, style and ovary. Ovary is the swollen base that contain ovules. Egg or female gametes is formed in the ovule. So these are the different parts of a flower. All the different parts of a flower that is separated. Here you can see pedicel, thalamus, sepal, petals, stamen and pistil. This is the male part of the flower. Male part of the flower, that is called stamen. Stamen consists of anther and filament. Filament and anther. Anther is the part that which produce pollen grains. This is the female part of the flower. Female part of the flower, that which consists of stigma, style and ovary. Stigma is the upper part of pistil which receive pollen grains. Style, slender long stalk of pistil. Ovary is the swollen base of pistil. So here in this picture, stigma, style and ovary is very clear. These are the different parts of a flower. Once again, pedicel, thalamus, calyx, petals, stamens and pistil. Stamens are also called androecium. Pistil is called gynoecium. There are different types of flowers in our surroundings. Some of them they are bisexual, some are unisexual. What do you mean by bisexual flowers? Bisexual flower, that is called complete flower, or it is called hermaphroditic flower. A flower with stamen and pistil that is present in the same flower, that is called bisexual flower. The flower in front of you in this picture, that is a hibiscus flower. Hibiscus flower is a bisexual flower, or it is a complete flower, or it is a hermaphroditic flower. The flower that bears either stamen or pistil are called unisexual flowers or incomplete flowers. Means male flower is separate and female flower is separate. Example, maize flower. That is unisexual flowers or incomplete flowers. Some other examples are papaya, cucumber. These two plants, this type of plants are also unisexual flowers. And some flowers, they are without stamen and pistil. Such type of flowers are called neutral flowers. Example, ray florets of sun. Next topic, that is pollination. What is pollination? Pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of a flower. Pollination, that is of two main types. One is that self-pollination, another one is that cross-pollination. Now, what is self-pollination? So, this is the picture, that is petunia flower. In this petunia flower, it is a bisexual flower. Bisexual flower means both stamens and pistil which is present in the same flower. And this type of flowers that which show self-pollination. Self-pollination means transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of the same flower. Stamen is present, stamen that which it is means it is producing pollen grains, and the pollen grains are falling over the stigma of the same flower. That type of a pollination is called self-pollination. And here in this photograph, there are many flowers on the same plant. And in this plant also self-pollination is taking place. How? Transfer of pollen grains from one flower to another flower of the same plant. That is also a type of self-pollination. And in this garden, you can see a butterfly is sitting over that flower. A type of pollination that which it is taking place here in this type of flower, that is cross-pollination. Now, what is cross-pollination? The transfer of pollen grains from anther of one flower to stigma of another flower on a different plant of the same species. That is called cross-pollination. So in this picture, many flowers of the same species, they are pollinated with the help of different agents. They are butterflies, honeybees and small birds. So that type of a pollination, that is called cross-pollination. This is the diagrammatic representation that which shows self-pollination. transfer of pollen grains from one flower to another flower of the same plant, that is the bee diagram, that is self-pollination. A diagram, that which also shows self-pollination, transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of the same flower. These are the two different types of self-pollination. With this diagram, now we will learn what is self-pollination and what is cross-pollination. It is clearly visible here in this picture. Self-pollination and cross-pollination. What pollination is taking place in the same flower. Pollination is taking place between two flowers of the same plant, and pollination is taking place between two flowers of two different plants of the same species. So these are the two different types of pollination, that is self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination and cross-pollination are natural methods. The pollination carried out by man, that is called artificial pollination. Artificial pollination is the type of pollination carried out by man. It is a mechanical technique used to pollinate plants. When natural pollination is insufficient or undesirable, it does not require the help of insects or weather. This technique is used to improve the quality and quantity of crops. Such new varieties of plants are called hybrid, and the process is called hybridization. Various steps involved in hybridization are: this is the table which is given in your book. The first step in artificial pollination, during hybridization, the stamens of a bisexual flower are removed before their anthers mature. Removal of anther or stamens from a flower, that is called emasculation. This flower with gynoecium intact is covered with a paper or muslin bag to prevent natural pollination. When the stigma of this flower matures, pollen grains from another selected plant are taken and deposited on the stigma. The seeds produced after artificial pollination give rise to a new hybrid variety, which is generally better than the parent plants. They are high yielding or better quality and are disease resistant. So this is the process of hybridization. What are the advantages of artificial pollination? To increase the yield, to develop seeds and fruits of better quality, to develop disease-free varieties, to develop early or late maturing varieties. The diagram, the picture that which shows artificial pollination technique. So we completed the chapter sexual reproduction in plants and structure of flower, and revision for the parts that which we covered now: sexual reproduction, structure of a flower, different parts of a flower, pollination, two different types of pollination, self-pollination and cross-pollination, and artificial pollination. Read your book thoroughly. Before we begin with the next class, I will give you the questions related with this topic, and topic means that I taught till now. Next class, we will continue the same chapter with a new topic. Take care. Thank you.